Damn, she looks good. Your chicken would never be able to achieve this, let me tell you. You ready for some peanut sauce? We can do a direct dip. Yum. Hey fam, welcome to Make It Vegan, where I show you traditionally non-veg dishes and make them deliciously vegan. I'm your host, Priyanka Naik. I can't believe it. We are at the final episode and I'm still hungry. As a final goodbye, we're gonna be working with one of my favorite ingredients, tofu. I hope by now you actually enjoy tofu. I mean, I've taught you a lot. This dish is nostalgic for me as well because it's based on a trip that I went to Thailand, and it's also based on a restaurant that we grew up visiting when we were little called Royal Thai. When I used to eat chicken, which we won't speak about, but when I used to, there was this dish that we would always order called chicken satay. And instead today, we're gonna be making a Chickie satay with tofu. We're gonna first start with making a homemade curry powder. This is not a typical Indian curry powder. This has more of like the Thai, Southeast Asian, Singaporean flair to it. And I'm very excited to make it from scratch because it has all of the ingredients that I already have at home. And since you're on episode 10 of Make It Vegan, you should have these ingredients at home too. So I have my cute little pot here. Of course it matches me because why wouldn't I match it? And we're gonna get all of our whole spices in. Whole coriander goes in, red chili, cumin, bay leaf, and clove and black peppercorn. We actually don't want to warm up the ginger powder. Anything that's already ground already has a lot of its flavors and natural oils that have been released because it's into a powder. We just want to make sure to just toast all of the whole spices to really get those juices inside working. Also, the bay leaf makes such a difference. It's just one of those ingredients that doesn't act like a main character, but it's a supporting character that really brings everything together. All right, so my spices are fragrant and toasted. I'm just gonna set them to the side and let them cool down for a minute. And while I do that, I'm gonna show you a little trick. A lot of ground spices can be filled with a lot of fillers that aren't necessarily good for us, and we wanna make sure that whatever we're using is of the best quality. So here's a little trick I learned to test the quality of turmeric. So turmeric, which is this beautiful orangey yellow color, kind of like my dress, the root of turmeric is actually very, very orange, almost like a neon orange. But sometimes when there's turmeric being exported, it could be filled with other agents like cornstarch or other chemicals that we obviously wouldn't want in our turmeric. So a little test is to take a little spoonful of your ground turmeric. I have some room temperature to lukewarm water. We're gonna drop our turmeric in. Now, if the turmeric falls to the bottom without streaking the water yellow, it's pure. Everything dropped to the bottom and you can see the water is pretty much clear, which means my turmeric is pure. So now back to our spices. We're gonna just take out a little blender. We're gonna take our toasted whole spices, add in our ginger powder, and we're gonna add in our turmeric. And I'm gonna add in a little bit of kosher salt. And we're gonna get this blended. Oh my God, this smells so good. I actually love that it's slightly coarse. It adds a little bit of character, looks homemade. All right, we're gonna set that aside. I have an extra firm block of tofu from the grocery store. They pretty much sell this anywhere. I actually saw tofu like at my local deli here in New York, so I love that people are loving tofu. I brought this home, took it out of its package, drained it of its liquid. I wrapped it in a thick paper towel. You can also use a kitchen towel. And I kept it in the fridge for about 30 minutes to get a little bit more firm. And the idea is that we want to drain all of the moisture. So in order to help that process, what I have here is a tofu press. It's a little gadget. I know it looks really cool. You can also use this to like wash berries or herbs. You don't need to use a tofu press. You can just use a heavy weight and some plates. But I like to take the block of tofu, put it into the tofu press, and it comes with this little lid. We're gonna put that right on. It's meant to help press out all of the moisture. And I'm gonna take my bottle of Tostito salsa. You can use a can, you could use literally anything heavy that's in your kitchen, and put that right on top. Now we wanna get started on our marinade for our Chickie satay. We're gonna wanna start with some coconut cream. I'm using full fat coconut cream because I really want the marinade to adhere to the tofu and really flavor it. So we're gonna add our coconut cream to our bowl. Yum. So add that right in. Coconut cream has a little bit of sugar in it, so it adds a little bit of sweetness to our marinade to help balance out the tang and the spice. It's gonna be great. Next is a very special ingredient, Thai red curry paste. I like this brand. I think the brand that you get really does matter. So it comes in these like little short, shallow cans. You can get it at the Asian aisle of your grocery store or in H Mart. But I love using this curry paste because just look at that texture. You can almost see the kaffir lime in it, the chilies. There's also galangal in this, which is basically a different type of ginger. It's like a more milder ginger root. But if you use ginger instead of galangal, you'll definitely taste the difference. So I just recommend getting a ready-made curry paste like this. It's gonna really make your life a lot easier. But just look at that. I absolutely love this curry paste. So we're gonna add a good hefty tablespoon. Then our homemade curry powder. This is gonna add not only that flavor, but that beautiful yellow hue that chicken satay has. So add that right in. A little bit of kosher salt. Tofu's a blank canvas, so we gotta really flavor her up. And then I'm actually gonna add a splash of coconut milk just to help thin out the thickness of the coconut cream. Beautiful. And then we're gonna mix her up. She's perfect. She's so good. I could drink this right now, but I will not. I will resist. All right, so now let's just get her to the side and we're gonna cut up our tofu. Because I kept it in the fridge with a kitchen towel for about 30 minutes, that really helped drain a lot of the moisture. If you didn't do that, you would see almost a pool of moisture here. So now we wanna cut our tofu slabs. I like to keep it about 1/2 inch thick. I feel like that's 1/2 inch, right? I used to be good at math. Also, this is a perfect dish to make ahead of time. Perfect meal prep. The longer you marinate these, the better they taste. That's pretty much like with anything. So let's bring our marinade back. And what we want to do is take our tofu slabs and nestle them right into this beautiful marinade. They're getting a coconut milk bath. They're gonna have beautiful skin after this, let me tell you. If you have time, marinate this overnight. Otherwise, 30 minutes works perfectly. I always need a dipping sauce with my Chickie satay. And when we used to eat chicken satay at the restaurant that we grew up going to, they would serve it with this delicious, slightly chunky, sweet and spicy, tangy peanut sauce. And when I went to Thailand, peanut sauce was everywhere. I absolutely love peanuts. Actually, I love this so much that I developed a recipe for it in my cookbook. Did you know I have a cookbook and it's called the MODERN TIFFIN, and you could get it everywhere books are sold. This recipe is in my Vietnamese chapter, which has a lot of other delicious recipes in it. I'm using basically a rendition of this recipe, changing a few things around, but that's again why I love this dish. So first, our peanuts. Here I just have some raw unsalted peanuts. Beautiful. And you want to keep your eye on these because nuts have a lot of natural oils, so they can burn very quickly. I advise doing this on the stovetop versus doing it in the oven because once you put something in an oven, you can tend to forget about it and it's just harder to keep an eye on. So I tend to toast all of my nuts on the stovetop. We're gonna take our toasted, roasty, delicious peanuts. We're gonna add them to our blender. You can use a food processor for this. Whatever just has a good surface area, you know, and can really get into the grooves of those peanuts and break it down. To this, we're gonna add 1 spicy red chili. a little bit of Kashmiri red chili powder, and then some turmeric because we need more of that beautiful color, those health benefits. We're gonna add a little bit of light agave. I always like a little bit of sweetness in my peanut sauce. Then we're gonna add our tangy and salty factors. I'm gonna add a little bit of soy sauce, a little bit of rice vinegar for that tang factor, just a dash, a little pinch more of salt, and I'm actually gonna add a little bit of lemon juice, maybe even some lemon zest, because why not? We're making it from scratch, we could do what we want. And again, when you're zesting, you always wanna hold the blade down to the fruit or whatever that you're zesting and hold the back up to you. That's gonna help you zest it more cleanly. And see, you can catch all of the zest into your blade. This is totally like not in my recipe in my book, the zest, but I just felt fun. I felt zesty. Then we're gonna take our lemon, we're gonna roll her. We're gonna add a little bit of lemon juice. I'm gonna add my lemon peel to my scraps bowl. And then a little splash of coconut milk to give it that creamy factor, and it's gonna just kind of help bring everything together. And while it's blending, we're gonna drizzle in a little bit of olive oil. You can also use coconut oil if you'd like. Damn, she looks good. All right, now it's the time you've all been waiting for. It's time to cook up our Chickie Satay. They've been marinating. Look at that color. I like to cook my Chickie Satay on a nonstick skillet. You wanna make sure it's really hot because you wanna hear that sizzle. We're just gonna get some olive oil down. We wanna carefully lift up. Oof, look at that. The marinade is just glued on. That's why I love using that coconut cream. Beautiful. Make sure to not overcrowd the pan because we want to make sure all of our tofu cooks evenly and gets really nice color on it. While we wait for our delicious Chickie Satay to cook up and get nice and golden on the outside, I want to put together a few of my favorite garnishes for this. So first, a little Persian cucumber, and then some red chili. You can use some Thai bird's eye chili if you're feeling dangerous, but today I'm just feeling cute and fun. So we're gonna use a Fresno chili. And the last few garnishes are some fresh herbs. I'm using a little combo of fresh mint, and I'm also gonna use a little bit of basil. We're gonna kind of just roll it into a little cigar and do a little chiffonade. Now it's time to flip our Chickie Satay. Oh my God, look at that color. Even if you hate tofu, which I know there's a few of you out there, I'm sure this is gonna convince you. I think the crew can attest to how delicious this smells right now. This is gorgeous. Our Chickie Satay smells good, looks good. I'm very excited to take it out of the pan. Your chicken would never be able to achieve this, let me tell you. It's the moment of truth. It's time to eat. But before we can eat, we gotta plate up our Chickie Satay all beautifully. So I've made a little bit of rice to serve our Chickie Satay with. This is just some plain basmati rice. And now for our Chickie Satay. Oh my God, stunning. We got our cucumber, our red chili. Again, this is just for vibes. For vibes. Really not spicy at all. And then our fresh herbs. Some of that chiffonade Thai basil. So good. Oh my God, the smell of this is amazing. Some of our fresh mint. And then our homemade peanut sauce served on the side. And that is our Chickie Satay. Oh, and I almost forgot, I always love to serve this with a little lime cheese, just so you can squeeze on a little extra zing. And there you have it, our beautiful, homemade, pretty much everything made from scratch, Chickie Satay. Before we dive into our delicious Chickie Satay, I wanna do a little bit of cleanup and take my food scraps to my Eco Primo. No more freezing scraps for me. I've upgraded to mill to make my own food grinds. It's so much easier and cleaner. My Chickie Satay looks so good, and I've been standing here for too long, not taking a bite, so I think I'm ready to dig in. We've achieved such an amazing crust on this. I need to do a direct dip. Just look at that. Mmm. The texture, the flavor, the color, this is a showstopper. It's like I'm back in the streets of Bangkok. Thank you all so much for joining me on my first ever season of Make It Vegan. I hope you left feeling hungry and changing your perspective on vegetables. So go home and get cooking.